very important, very patriotic that the district clerk's in charge of, and that's our jury system.
Absolutely.
You know, unfortunately, some folks I know dread it, you know, and I know I got a caller, and I'll be right with you, but they dread it. But it is a patriotic duty. I mean, maybe I'm being too philosophical here.
I don't think so. I mean, jury service really is a cornerstone of American democracy. I mean, the fact that we are a nation of free people who can have our cases, our disputes, our conflicts resolved by our peers. It's an amazing concept. We don't have judges deciding our cases and deciding our fate. We have juries, regular folks just like you and me, deciding our fate. But I'll tell you, from a common sense perspective, it's a little hard to have a jury trial if nobody shows up for jury service. So that's why it's so important responding to those summons and coming downtown to take part in the process. And I'll tell folks at home, I know the process, a lot of people think it's a drag. It really doesn't have to be. It's exciting, it's rewarding. We've done some things to make it more convenient. You can reschedule your jury service online. You can even print your new jury summons off the website. If you come down to the jury assembly room, we have free wireless internet for you. Now, we can't give you free parking and free coffee and donuts. Those aren't things the district clerk can do.
And no salary.
Well, no salary, but you will make $6 for your first day, and you get $40 for every day you serve after that.
Don't get excited, okay? Everybody rush down there.
That's right.
No, all kidding aside. Let me take this caller, and I'll be right back with you. Let me take this caller who's been waiting. Thank you for waiting. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, okay. You're talking about the criminal background.
Yes.
This is like a iffy question.
Go ahead.
Okay. If, let's say that you have a neighbor and the renter did a criminal background, the neighbor is a pedophile, a child molester, for lack of better word.
Okay.
And you don't know anything. You're the neighbor. You don't know anything. The rent lady knows that he's a pedophile or child molester. You find out a year later, maybe a year and a half later, who he is and what he's done. What can you do? Or what can we do to protect ourselves from something like that?
Okay, well, you have a good question. Let me...
do you understand the question?
Oh, very clearly. I'll explain it again over the air, and I'll go over it over there. But thank you very much for taking the time to call. I think it is a very important question we need to talk about.
Okay, thank you.
You very much. Let me repeat her question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure she's talking about a sex offender, whether it's a child sex offender. In Texas, the law requires every sex offender to be registered, so it is public information. Her point was, while maybe the owner, the landlord, did do a background check and they knew about it, but the neighbors didn't. The law doesn't say that, unfortunately, that person renting there has to tell everyone. You can look it up under the website, under the state of Texas. You can look up where the sex offenders live. As far as protecting yourself, unless they actually threaten you in any way, what the intent of the law is that this person has committed this crime, the intent is for them to rehabilitate and become part of mainstream society. That's the hope. But I think you do have to be aware. Would I let my children go over there? No. I would take those kind of precautions to the lady that's calling and to anybody that's viewing. And I don't mean to be offensive. I'm just going to be upfront. I'm going to make sure that nothing happens to my children, my grandchildren. With all due respect to that person that's supposedly getting rehabilitated, they can do that on their own, not the expense of our children. That's what you can do to protect yourself and your kids. You don't allow it. And what we do, like even during celebrations like Christmas, we try to make sure that some of them do not even participate, Christmas, in Halloween, I apologize. They don't even participate in giving candies out. But we can only require and mandate those that are on probation or parole. So it's kind of, a synopsis. But yes, you can find out any one of your neighbors if you have their name and date of birth at the district clerk's office.
That's right. And that's, again, why this tool is so powerful, because where perhaps the realtor or renter did this check, you didn't know. It took a while. Now, for sex offenders, you can obviously find them on, the DPS website and others in the state, but if it was an offense that was committed in Harris County and tried in the Harris County courts, now you have the power to know about it at the time they're moving in instead of waiting a year. And that's really the power of what it is we're trying to create, is to create a virtual district clerk's office where you can access our information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, instead of coming downtown only when we're open.
And ladies and gentlemen, again, the information is just for you to become aware.
Absolutely.
The intent is not for you to really use this information to go over there and throw it at people's face.
That's right.
Okay, because they also have some rights when it comes to that. And that's not the intent. The intent is to be, knowledge is power, bottom line. The more informed we are, the better we can improve the quality of life in our community. But we start off with our own family, our neighbors. It starts as a grassroots level, folks. This country wasn't just built, with all 50 states at one time being so knowledgeable. It started off with a small group and it grew. But we need to stay focused and not lose, I think, the sight of the fact that it's important information that we have here locally. It goes there, and if we're not aware of it, we don't use it, then it's our problem. So again, that's why I'm grateful that our district clerk, Loren Jackson, is here live. He's here at the studio, and you see our program every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30, and you can call in and make your comments. And again, I got a caller that's on hold, and I'll be right with you. I want to finish the jury summons. Absolutely. I want to make sure we talk to the people about how important this jury summons are, and I need you to comment back, folks. But let me get to this caller who's been patiently waiting. Thank you. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, my family member passed away a few years ago, and when we got the jury service notice, we put on their deceased, and yet, till this day, we're still getting jury summons for him to go to jury duty. And I was wondering, is there anything we can do about that?
Very good point. Let's ask our district clerk. Thank you for calling.
Thank
you. Absolutely. That's a great question, and we do get it frequently. And I will tell you, the problem is that the jury system, we pull the names from voter registration as well as driver's licenses.
Let me repeat the question in case everybody didn't hear it right, because the phone system here, the caller, ladies and gentlemen, said that one of their family members passed away a while back, but yet they're still getting jury summons. Even though they sent it back and put deceased, they're still getting jury summons for this person that's been deceased. Is there anything we can do about that? And I know I got another caller, getting a lot of callers, so we'll be right with you. Be patient with us. But let's let Loren Jackson answer that last question again about what can we do.
Right. The voter registration list that we get, the jury wheel as it's called, it comes from lists that come from the Department of Public Safety based on driver's licenses, and it also comes from the Secretary of State's office based on voter registration. Unfortunately, every month we receive basically a CD, an electronic list from those agencies. Their lists override a lot of the information that's put into our system. So even if today I type in that your loved one is deceased, if we have an updated list that comes in from one of those agencies, it's going to sort of override what we've put in the system. So the best way to resolve the issue is to communicate directly with the Department of Public Safety to let them know that your loved one is deceased, and also to contact the Secretary of State's office or whoever your local voter registrar is to let them know that your loved one is deceased. That way they can be removed from the voter rolls, driver's license rolls, and they're removed from our list as well.
Let's go over this response again, okay? Not to repeat what our district clerk, Loren Jackson, said, but there's 3 steps that I heard. You either call Department of Public Safety directly.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Or that you call also the voter registrations office.
Right.
Is it here locally? And one more you said.
And the Secretary
of State. So write all that down, ladies and gentlemen, because it's mentioned here, and I'm going to get to the caller in just a second, but it's mentioned here, Loren Jackson was talking about the fact that, they may have it in their system, but when they get the state rolls, it's going to override their system. So when you call directly to those 3 areas, it should work. And it's great calls and great points we need to discuss.